You're watching live coverage of the school shooting here in Noblesville and Hamilton County, live on RTV6. This news conference is about to begin. We'll go to the podium momentarily to hear the very latest on this ongoing investigation. We are now live here on RTV6. They are ready to go. And here's the latest on what happened today in Hamilton County.
All right. Again, I'm Lieutenant Bruce Barnes with the Noblesville Police Department, Public Information Officer. You know, it's difficult to find the right words to talk about these sort of incidents when they occur. Again, you never think they're going to happen in your own hometown, in your own state, affect your own families. But nonetheless, we're faced with a tragedy of sort here in our very own community. We're going to try the best that we can to provide everybody with the answers that you want, although we will likely fall short of that because we're only 5 hours into this investigation and it's going to take time. We need to get it right. We need to make sure that we take care of the people that need to be taken care of first right now, and that's the victims in this case. We will not identify any names today. We will not identify any conditions of the victims. We only say that we're praying for them, hoping that they get through this situation. We know there are also many other victims as well. Students that observed this, teachers that observed this, law enforcement officers that observed this, and we're going to try and get through it. So please appreciate that as we go through this press conference, we're going to do the best that we can to answer your questions. But there will simply be questions that we likely know the answer to, but given that we have a criminal investigation, we're not going to be able to provide them to you. But where we can provide an answer to you, we'll do that. You will likely ask questions that we don't have an answer to, and again, that's part of the investigative process. 5 hours into it, we've got a lot of work to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Police Chief Kevin Jowett speak to you first. Superintendent Dr. Beth Niedermayer is going to talk next from the Noblesville School Corporation, and then I will come back and I will try to facilitate whatever questions that you might have. So, Chief Kevin Jowett.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Jowett. I'm Chief of Police in Noblesville. Talk about some factual things first. Just to reiterate, the Hamilton County Communications Center received a call of an active shooter at Noblesville West Middle School, which is the building behind us, at 9:06 a.m. One teacher and one student suffered gunshot wounds in this incident. The scene is now completely secure. It's been cleared by emergency service units from 3 different departments. Crime scene teams are in the building right now, conducting a crime scene investigation, and detectives have started their work to investigate the case, primarily with conducting interviews at this point. The preliminary information is that a male student asked to be excused from his class. He left the classroom. He then returned armed with 2 handguns, and that classroom is where the activities occurred. We are still conducting interviews to determine what happened in that classroom. We do know the situation resolved extremely quickly, with the result, again, that the teacher and one student were injured, and the suspect was placed into custody. The Noblesville Police Department does have a full-time school resource officer assigned to this school. He was in the building when this occurred. Again, we don't know what happened in the classroom, so I can't make any kind of comments about what his involvement was, but again, we do know that the activity that occurred in that classroom resolved very quickly with 2 injuries and 1 person in custody. I want to also say both law enforcement and school emergency procedures were enacted immediately. We work very closely with the Noblesville schools. We always have. We've got very carefully planned procedures. They immediately went into place. They were working when I got here, and they continued to work throughout the incident. So again, I can't comment about specific activities in the classroom because I simply don't know, but our emergency procedures worked. I also want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement partners who are here. We had a tremendous law enforcement response, emergency medical response to the scene. It's gratifying that we had that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Beth Niedermayer, Superintendent of Noblesville Schools. I've just gotten back from visiting with families of both of the victims, and I can tell you that they are so appreciative of this community and the outpouring of love that they've felt from everyone. So we want to thank you. The hospital staff from both hospitals have asked that friends and loved ones send texts and emails and cards, but please at this time stay away from the hospitals and let the families have some peace at this time. I also want to thank the heroic efforts of the staff at Noblesville West. They responded very quickly, and we are very grateful that they followed all of the procedures. The students did exactly as they were trained to do. They did a fine job with that, and so we're very appreciative. Please keep those thoughts and prayers coming as we continue to work through this. And again, we're so grateful for the support that we've had from all of the local law enforcement agencies as well as state agencies. The collaborative effort has been tremendous, and we're so grateful. So thank you so much for all of your thoughts and prayers.
So just to kind of summarize where we're at with our investigation right now, we have crime scene investigators from a number of different resources. Again, as the chief mentioned, local, state, federal government here processing the scene. We'll probably be here for a couple more hours. We'll wrap everything up here. It's not a big crime scene here. It's actually limited to a classroom. So we don't have a great deal of work, but nonetheless, again, we only have one opportunity to get it right, and we want to make sure we get it right the first time. Schools are releasing on their regular schedule if parents haven't picked them up already, so things are in progress there to get students back to their parents. So I'll try to answer questions as best I can. We're going to limit it probably to about 5 or 10 minutes, and so.
Yes, can you confirm if the teacher inside the classroom is the one that confronted the suspect, the one who got injured?
And that's some of our challenges right now, because we don't have the ability to be able to communicate with the people that we need to be able to communicate to know for sure what exactly happened. Because either one, they're in the hospital seeking care, and we want care to be first. Investigation will come second. But it takes time for everybody to process information. So I don't have an answer to that question yet.
Have you searched sir, have you searched the student's home, and where did the guns come from?
Yeah, so again, that's going to be part of the investigation. We have a number of search warrants that were issued. So that's part of the process of the ongoing investigation.
Where was
targeting a specific student?
Again, much too early. Again, we're 5 hours into this. We have not had the opportunity to speak to the people that we need to speak to have a clear understanding of what's going on. So please appreciate that.
Any prior problem with this student at all?
We're not going to comment on that because we simply don't know at this point. Again, that's part of the process, and it will likely take us days to be able to get our heads wrapped around everything that happened here.
Do you know how he brought the guns into school?
Again, part of the investigation, and I'm really sorry, guys.
What about Tuesday,
we just don't
sir?
have those answers yet.
How about when kids come back to school on Tuesday, what should their parents expect? How will things come after the Memorial Day weekend?
Okay, still in the process of doing that. So please appreciate, while we all train for this sort of situation, the truth of the matter is, when it comes down to it, we come to the realization of what do we do. We as a community want to make sure we do the right things, again, for those people that have been impacted the most. And that's the kids in these buildings, that's the faculty in this building. We've got to make sure, and it's not only the kids and the faculty here, it's the rest of the kids and the rest of the community. We just got to make sure we get it right. So that's going to require some talking, some conversation to be able to figure out what's going to work best. But that's what our weekend is for, is to prepare for Tuesday.
where was the shooter apprehended and confronted?
The shooter was apprehended in the classroom or thereabouts in that area.
By whom?
That's what we're still working towards right now, to figure out what that process looked like.
Was he injured?
We have no information at this point to lead to believe that he has expressed any concern or issues regarding his health. So no, at this point it would appear as he was not injured.
Does the school have metal detectors?
School does not have metal detectors as a regular basis of walking into the school.
Security video?
We will be reviewing video. That will be part of the investigation as well.
Does it appear that was that covered by video cameras?
That's what we're going to look through. Again, 5 hours in, we're doing the best that we can to manage a crime scene here. When it comes time for that video, that's preserved. That's something that we can look at a later time. We've got to secure things that have a tendency to go by the wayside real quick with respect to evidence. So those are the things that we're looking to capture right now.
Mr. Barnes, can we...
Respond and what happened
There was an SRO in the building. Noblesville West Middle School does have an SRO assigned. He was in the building. He did respond.
Mr.
Correct.
Barnes, can we ask the Superintendent Carter what he's telling the governor about this? Do you mind if we ask Mr. Carter, sir, what you're telling the governor about this, sir?
He's flying. The governor's currently flying back from Europe, and he'll arrive this afternoon, and I'll brief him when he comes back later on this afternoon. But even from the air, he has sent multiple messages to me, thinking about this family, thinking about this community, and thinking about these first responders. So yes, that will happen, Raphael, probably in the next couple, 3 hours.
And sir, you don't like to make your conversations with the governor public that are private, but globally, what would you tell the governor that happened today? The work between the city, the state, and
I'm going to tell
locals.
him about the extraordinary response from not just the community, from public safety entities, from our media partners from all over, getting calls now from all over the country. And here we go again. Here we go again. And it's just really, really, really unfortunate. And as I've said to all of you before, I wish I had the answer. I applaud Bruce Barnes for the way in which he's handling this, getting out in front of it right now, being as candid and as honest as he can possibly be. I couldn't be more proud of the city of Noblesville and the way in which they've responded.
So the superintendent keeps commending teachers for them stepping in and their bravery. Can you elaborate a little more?
Wait till one day when we can tell you that story. You'll be proud of them too.
Are there armed teachers in Noblesville?
Here we go again. Where are we coming again from? Here in Noblesville?
No, I didn't mean that at all. I think most of you know what I meant by that. It's another sad day. It's just another cotton picking sad day, and it just happens now to be in Noblesville, Indiana. That's what I meant by that.
Mr. Barnes, can you speak to the work of the men and women of your department today that by all accounts from parents are praising the work that you did as well as the school community? Can you just speak on the behalf of the people you work with, sir?
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. As the chief mentioned, as superintendent mentioned, the amount of resources that came together today, it was absolutely amazing, and it should be comforting to everybody. It's unfortunate these tragedies happen, but it was because of this quick response today that we think lives were saved as a result of it. Again, it's just not the city of Noblesville. It's a number of different resources locally, within the county, within the state, within the country that have reached out to us. So we're extremely appreciative of that. We understand you guys have got questions that fall outside of this realm of what happened today here. We're not going to focus on those right now. We've got to take care of our community right now, and we've got to get that fixed. So one thing that we want to do is send out to our community and let our community members know, have confidence in what we're trying to get done as a community. As a police agency, as a school corporation, as city government, as county government, we're doing the best that we can to ensure that these situations don't come up again. And I tell you what, we've got a hard job to do, but we're truly trying to do our best to make sure that doesn't happen again. Just a couple more questions.
Mayor Ditzler, can we hear from you for a second? Is your heart breaking today for your community? Can you come up here and talk about that?
Well, very simply, yes. We've had these shootings around the country. You just never think that it could happen in Noblesville, Indiana. But it did. Our people were prepared. I'm very proud of, it's been said time and time again, but law enforcement, from police to ATF and everyone else was involved, and certainly the school system and their staff were prepared for this incident. Similarly, they practiced that. They knew what they were doing, and I couldn't be more proud. But it is a very, very sad day that we have to go through this in our beautiful city. Thank you.
Mr. Prosecutor, can you talk about what the steps are next now that this person is in custody?
I can only tell you that very briefly, the investigation will need to be concluded before we can fully determine what, if any, charges will be brought against this individual. At this point in time, he's in custody. I anticipate there could be a hearing beginning part of next week, which wouldn't be until Tuesday, given the Memorial Day weekend.
And he'll be in the juvenile system?
That is correct.
Seventh grade student?
I'm not going to confirm anything further about his identity beyond that. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's going to wrap up our questions. Again, we appreciate your assistance in helping us get the word out to families of how to contact with their kids and whatnot. We will continue to provide you with information as we get it. Please appreciate that information from this point forward will come very slowly. We will likely not have any other press conferences today. What you will receive from me is a press release in a written form. So if you don't have my email address, I will stick around. I'll provide that information to you. And thanks again. We appreciate your time.
So, live here.
Okay, thanks again.
So as you can